as you can probably hear, I have a little bit of a head cold, so I'm not going to sneeze my way through today's episode. We're going to do things a little bit differently. What having a cold has done for me was given me time to step back, reevaluate, rethink, and look at things from a little bit of a different perspective. And so that's what we're going to do today as I take you inside one of my classes where we're going to investigate what's really driving behavior. We have to separate our kids from their behaviors, but in order to do this, we have to start to look at behavior for what it really is. Behavior is a communication. So let's go do an activity together with some of my clients and find out how.
So we're going to talk about right now, we're going to start to separate needs from behaviors. And when you can connect that need, then you can stay in control. You can stay regulated. You can approach them from a position of, I'm going to help. I'm going to help you. I'm going to set up the conditions so that you can meet this expectation. I'm not going to just throw you in there and let you fail. I'm not going to challenge you to perform. So here on the left-hand side, we have the behaviors that we might see in our kids, behaviors that are negative and maybe not acceptable. And on the right-hand side, we have some needs, the actual needs that they might be experiencing, needing. So if your child is jumping on the furniture, we know that jumping on the furniture is not acceptable. But what could jumping on the furniture represent a need for? Elena, these are pretty profound.
Let's exercise.
Do you have an idea, Elena, what jumping on the furniture might be showing a real need for? And, of course, these could overlap. This is just one exercise giving you guys some ideas.
Maybe energy relief?
Definitely. Yep. Play, which could go along with, that energy, that release of energy. Just play. Jumping on the furniture, especially little kids. They love to jump. And instead of saying 10 times, stop jumping on the furniture, you can say to your child, you want to play. Jumping is so much fun. It's not okay to play on the couch. I'm going to help you find another place to play. Would you like to play outside and jump on the trampoline, or would you like to use your jump rope in the basement? And you give them another option, and then you, especially a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, you're going to maybe need to take them off of the couch. It's okay to gently remove them and say, not okay. You don't want to over-explain. You don't want to legitimize. You don't want to sit there and tell them over and over and over again, we don't jump on the couch. We have to keep it clean, or we're going to ruin our things. You don't want to over-explain trying to get them to understand or to agree. You stick with acknowledge the need. I can tell you want to play. You want to have fun, and jumping is fun. I saw how high you jumped. It's not okay to jump. Where else can we jump? Where would you like to go next? And then wait, and if they say, no, I want to jump here, you don't have to argue with them. I know. Where would you like to jump next? We can't jump here. You don't need to give them reasons anymore. You just need to focus on that need. Next one, aggressive acts, whether it be hitting, whatever it could be. What might that be connected to? I think it said stress, anxiety relief. That's what you're pointing at. Let's see, what did I put aggressive acts? Yes, exactly. Kids who are aggressive may be holding stored stress. They may be having a lot of anxiety that's completely unrelated to what's going on. But we need to recognize that aggression is not a character flaw. It's a flaw in the ability to express ourselves and the ability to manage what's going on internally. And when we feel overwhelmed with stress or anxiety, it certainly comes out in aggressive acts. When kids are acting negatively, it's because they're having this physiological response. And it's definitely connected to something. But their need might be for when that happens, when that buildup of feelings, their need might be for more connection. If the buildup is coming from resentment, then maybe they're needing more connection and they're showing it aggressively. These are just ideas to get you guys started, but absolutely they could be coming from different places for sure. The need to move through the aggression might be to offload that stress and anxiety or to build connection. That's where I think aggression's those are the two places it's going to come from. I'm trying to give you guys ideas, and you have to be the investigators. You have to know, because aggressive acts in one situation might be frustration, might be hunger, and in another situation it might be, I need to be connected. I feel isolated from the group. Not necessarily connected to mom or dad, but I need to be connected to my sibling. Because, yes, these are not just black and white, automatic absolute things. These are just ideas so that when you see aggressive acts, you can know that it goes a little bit deeper. It could be any one of these things. An aggressive act could be showing a need for play, for attention, for recognition, connection, self-protection, peer approval. Somebody might be pushing someone to try to impress somebody else. It could be any one of these things. So nagging or begging. If your kid is begging you to do something or nagging all the time. Attention, to be seen. Just one idea. Shoving, interrupting. Sometimes our kids can get aggressive or start, jumping up and down in front of our faces because they want to be recognized. Oh, I put that one under connection. Yeah, recognition is what I thought this time, but obviously when I made this chart, I put it under connection. But you can see how it could be so many different things. Know what it is in your kid in that moment. Try to recognize what's going on. Do they need more connection, or is it that they're just really struggling and they have a really sensitive temperament and little changes set them off? That just means that they have a need to, with more practice, to build their tolerance. Rejecting, criticizing ideas. If you have older children, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and on, sometimes they get really, they can get hostile towards adult ideas and reject them or criticize them. That age, really finding their authenticity. They recognize when adults are being incongruent, and they may point it out. So it's not that they're wanting to criticize. That may be a socially inappropriate way of pointing out something that they see that's in conflict with whatever it is that they may believe or what they see happening or the truth as they know it. But it's that they have a need for authenticity, for truth, and not necessarily to hurt someone else. How about lying?
Can I say self-protection?
Yes, I think that's exactly what I put it under, Elena. Self-protection, absolutely. Lying is a stress reaction. It's that, I'm not that person that you said I am. I'm not going to admit to that because it's a scary place to be. You don't know what's going to happen. It's unsure. So that's why if you guys, anybody saw my video on lying, it's a good one to watch. There's different ways that you can approach lying by not challenging your child to tell the truth, but by recognizing this is what happened. I'm wondering what led to that. Instead of, tell me the truth, did you do this? When you know they did it. And I don't know why sometimes we want to, force our kids to feel that, but it really can produce a lot of feelings of shame, not to mention, of course, blame. And I think we want to move past that with our kids because that doesn't help us. How about defiance or refusing to cooperate? What might that be actually showing a need for? So underneath that defiance, our children are sending us a message. Like I said, choice, absolutely. Choice, autonomy. That's what I put that one under. Refusing to do something is saying that I want to have some control over my own body, over my own ideas, over my own self. It's about autonomy. And when we recognize that, you'd like to have some say in what you wear, or you'd like to have some choice in what you have for breakfast or when you do your homework or whatever it is. Again, doesn't mean we change our limits, but that we recognize that what's going on is not just to define. Now, here's the thing, sometimes we think, our kids refuse to do their homework. And sometimes it's not just that they're needing choice or autonomy, but they're needing more support. Their executive function isn't well managed and they can't plan it out. And tackling a task, especially as they get older, tackling a task like homework, which may have many parts, gets to be really overwhelming for them. All right, how about slamming doors or yelling? This is another big one that we can automatically start to judge and get really offended by as parents. When kids slam doors or when they get really loud with us, sometimes that slamming a door is saying, I don't feel heard. And I don't feel heard, you're going to hear this. It's a need to be recognized, to be heard. How about stealing? This is a big, scary one because there's obviously other consequences that come along, not just in the home, but if they get kids steal and they're stealing from school or from stores or from other places, something that sometimes we have to go through that can be kind of scary, and we want to judge so that it doesn't happen again. We sort of take this let's nip it in the bud attitude. But I think that we need to go a little deeper, and sometimes peer approval, being included, risky behaviors, kids are often tempted and dared to do things. And it's sort of like, okay, if I get away with it, I get this really big reward of being approved and included. And if I get caught, what am I facing? And sometimes the peers, especially as they get older, they're going to have a bigger influence because peers start to become really important to kids. Now, we want to keep our influence, right? We want to hope that that doesn't happen. But when it does happen, can we accept that it was not, again, a character flaw that's going to develop into something horrible, and if we recognize it for what it was a mistake, and maybe I was looking to feel important, recognition, to be noticed. Sometimes kids do crazy things like that for people to notice them. Sometimes they don't get noticed except when they are doing crazy things, and they get used to that. And maybe those crazy things get a little more crazy as they get older. First it's being the class clown, or always being the one who has something to say that's funny or off color or out of turn. And it gets more and more intense if those needs aren't met. Connection, stress relief, authenticity, overall needs in life, not just in one incident. Because remember, behavior might not have anything to do with what they got caught doing or the bad moment. It might be completely unrelated. It might be other stuff that's going on. Bullying can lead kids to a lot of poor choices, which leads us to self-harm, negative self-talk. I think our last one there is acceptance, validation. That's another really big one for kids. When they don't feel accepted or validated, whether it be at home or at school, this can lead them to a pattern of negative self-talk. Now, when a kid has a pattern of negative self-talk, they can be moody, they can be reactive, can lead to all kinds of things. It's really important, I think, to help our kids be aware of what they say in their heads. And what are we telling ourselves? Oh, you made that mistake again. You're so stupid. How could you do that? Does it sound like that? Or is it, okay, we made a mistake. What am I going to do about this? I felt bad, but I got through it, and someone was here to connect with me. I had a friend to talk to. That's what we want the internal talk to sound like.
All right, bottom line, can you always fulfill your child's needs? No, absolutely not, and you shouldn't have to. But what you can do is empathize, giving your child's brain what it needs to help him or her recover from that stressful or frustrating experience that led to that negative behavior. That was my teachable moment for you. I hope that you are now able to look a little bit deeper and investigate what might be really driving your child's negative behavior. When we feel like we have the relationships plus the resources to handle a situation, that's how we build our resilience, getting better at handling stress, frustration, and disappointment in the future. And if you want to get really good at setting limits with compassionate communication and making requests that get heard, then I invite you to join me for my month-long journey inside my conscious communication class starting this month. All right, here's what I want you to do next. I want you to think about your biggest behavior challenge, and then I want you to identify the need that your child is really trying to express. And then go ahead and post it in the comments and leave a note below, because when you share your stories and your discoveries, you help so many other families. Thank you so much for watching and for liking and for sharing these videos. I look forward to connecting again. Until next time, please remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection.